everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bobby Zen, and today we're gonna zen out in Blender. So today we are gonna do a My Year in Blender look back video. I thought that'd be a really fun one to start the month off. Happy July. It is summertime. It is hot out. It's so hot here in California. And we are just getting ready for a fun summer. So happy 1st of July. And I thought this would be a fun way to start off the month, kick off the month, just taking a look back on my year in Blender. So the very first video that I posted in Blender, the first animation that I ever did, was Blender Guru's donut tutorial. So we're gonna start there. I'm really excited because I think that's one of the most stunning animations that I've done. And I just wanna kind of look at all the projects that I finished, haven't finished, all the folders that I have, and I just thought it'd be a fun video to kind of like dive into everything that I've been working on since I started my journey here in Blender. So before we get into it, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. You guys have no idea how much it helps the channel, how much it helps me, how much it motivates me. Thank you so much for all of my new subscribers that I got last month. This has been like, that was a big month for me last month. So thank you all for sticking with me and basically just kind of like letting me work out all the kinks with you. I'm excited to kind of go through all of my files with y'all. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that, we're gonna get into it. If you don't know, I mean, if you're new to Blender, Blender Guru's donut tutorial is like the tutorial. So this is my donut that I did. It's pretty similar to Blender Guru's donut. I mean, I love pink, so of course I was gonna do a pink frosting. We use geometry nodes to make these sprinkles, and I just think it's just like such a stunning render. Let's see all the details. This is like, if you are looking to get into Blender, I personally think this is a fantastic tutorial to start with. I know there's like a lot of mixed feelings about that. I personally had an amazing time doing this. And by amazing, I mean it was frustrating as hell. Excuse my language. But it was frustrating. It was hard. It took me a while to finish it. But I will say, like, once I completed it, that's when I kind of knew that Blender was for me. And this was something that I really wanted to be a part of my life and just a part of my creative journey. When I got into Blender, I was just painting. I wasn't really doing anything in 3D space. So the idea of being able to create something instantaneously and to get like this beautiful of a result on my computer is crazy. And just like a funny story, the person who introduced me to Blender is actually T-Pain. And I mean, not personally, I don't know T-Pain, I wish I did. But he was in Twitch one day, he was streaming, and his logo was kind of playing in the corner, and everyone in the comments was kind of asking him, where did you get your logo? Who did your logo? And he was like, oh, I did it in Blender. And I remember like Googling, what is Blender? Like, what is that? And regular actual Blenders were popping up, and it took a while to get to an understanding of what Blender meant or what that was. And the rest is like history. So I can genuinely say that I can credit T-Pain for my love of Blender and my love of 3D animation and just working in 3D space. So if you haven't seen a Blender Guru's donut, here is one. Yeah, in full effect. So I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's stunning. I did have like a pink background, so I'm not sure. I think I did it. I fixed it up in rendering. This has been so long, but again, like April 7th, 2023 is when I did my very first 3D animation. So I think that is just like, to see how far I've come is just like so insane. But honestly, for a first project, I think it's literally crazy. So I'm just gonna click. I mean, I have so many files and I don't want this video to be too long, but I just want to dive into like some of my favorites, some of the ones that like didn't make the internet. So I think this may have actually been my second Blender project, if I'm not mistaken. So we're not gonna save and we're gonna dive into, look at this one. Can you even, you guys? Come on. Is this not the cutest little face you've ever seen? Come on. Tell me in the comments, is this the cutest face you've ever seen or what? I never did anything with this. And let me tell you what, I think this was actually my second attempt at like a project in Blender. Not bad. Not bad at all. You guys, look at this. This looks pretty close, pretty spot on. I kind of want to break down what I did a little bit from what I can recall, what I can remember. I think I don't know why I wanted to do a Furby, but I had learned about the hair particle system. And I was like, all right, well, I can do a Furby. I can make an animated Furby. And I think I can go back in and kind of make this animated. But I sculpted. This is when I thought sculpting was kind of the only way to get a object to kind of deform to what you wanted it to deform to. So I did just end up sculpting like a cube by hand, by the way. Like there were no pulling of the vertices or faces or anything like that. So I'm like pulling the cube all over. I think I did each of these feet individually. Or did I mirror it? Did I might have been smart enough to mirror. We'll see. I think I did. Wait, let's see. Let's see if there's a modifier on there. Oh, there's not. It's kind of okay, never mind. Maybe I mirrored it. I think I might have mirrored it and applied it already. And then these like the framer on the eyes and the mouth, I actually downloaded this for the first time. This was my first piece of like a .fbx file that I downloaded and imported into my system. So I was feeling extremely bold with this because even now I'm kind of intimidated by this. I'm like, ooh, this is really good. I mean, there's some topology issues. I did use weight paint for the first time here and got rid of the hair that was kind of poking through. You can kind of still see some imperfections here, but I mean, for a second project, not terrible, right? You can kind of see I hand did this. I don't remember exactly how, but you can kind of see the topology is it's a little wonky. Look at this. It's so intense, but you can kind of see the topology is a little wonky, but nonetheless, I think it's pretty good. I sculpted these ears. I think I mirrored them, but I also sculpted them. I mean, they're a little thick, but I think that could be really fun to kind of work on a little bit more. The color. So when I was younger, probably I want to say middle school, I had a Furby that I would put in the middle of my bed. And I would like, that was like my baby. It was like my child. So I would wake up, I would make my bed, I'd put my Furby like right in the center of the pillows. And I'd be like, okay, Furby, like I'm going to go to school now. I'll be back. Like you be a good girl. Don't get into much trouble. I used to do that with my Barbies, like all of my toys, my Furby especially. And I would just set it there. And then when I'd come home, I'd like run back in the house and I'd throw my backpack. Very 90s sitcom, all right? I wanted to be in a 90s sitcom so bad. And I'd be like, hey, Furby, like, how was your day? So when I say like Bobby Zen and like let's zen out, like I just think of all the things that bring me like comfort and nostalgia and like happiness. And that's typically how I'll pick my projects in Blender. Like I'm like, I just want to do something that's going to make me smile, that's going to make me like feel good as I'm doing it. So it's no surprise that I would have picked a Furby as my second project, but I'm really proud of this. I'm so sorry Cycles is not like super clear. Let's see what it looks like in Eevee. Oh, Eevee is a little better. Eevee's so much different than Cycles, but I can kind of move a little bit freer in Eevee here. But I'm proud of my little Furby. My Furby that I had growing up was actually gray, but pink is my color, so that was a really fun one. Maybe I'll dive more into that. And again, like if you guys see any of these projects that you would like to like, I don't know, you want me to dive a little bit deeper into or maybe just go a little bit crazier on, drop it in the comments. Like it could be really fun. I do all of my projects and files that I have, I do intend on kind of tapping back in with them and working on them a little bit more. So, okay, this was for sure my third. This was either my third or second. But wait, let's see. Is this the one? Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Makes me so happy because I also never go back and just like look through all my files. Okay, so this is oh, I did lava lamps. Did y'all have a lava lamp growing up? Because I always had a lava lamp. Let me press play. Okay, so oh, I love this. This is so sweet. Am I in Eevee? What am I in right now? Let's see. Because maybe if I go to Eevee, it'll just like play a little bit. So look at this, you guys. This is really good. Not bad. This is like my third project, and I think I used the like what are they called, like meta balls or something. I hand animated these balls. This is actually I have a couple files actually of this lava lamp. So the first one, let me go to the first one. Because I think I mentioned in my last video that I do save a lot of versions. So I have 3 different versions. So I have like 3 different colors and versions of this lava lamp, but this one I wasn't completely sure about like coloring and like the environmental world and things like that. I was still very like new to it all, so all the colors were kind of wonky, but I did come back and revisit some months later or however long later, and that's how we came up with the one I just showed you. So we're gonna come back to this one because this one's the most like visually pleasing, right? But I had so many lava lamps. I always had a lava lamp growing up. Like it was just so soothing, so calming to me. I love to just like lay in bed and watch my lava lamp, like like the balls just like go up and down. That sounds crazy. But I just like to like watch it. It was just so visually pleasing for me. And again, like it super zened me out. So that's why I wanted to do this project. What's my, let me see if I can put our HDRI back in here so we can kind of, oh, we'll put any HDRI. Let me see. I'm going to go into my assets and I'm going to get my, you might hear my dog in the background. She's like panting because it's so hot in here. Okay, so it's Blocky Photo Studio. So let's do that. Let's get our HDRI back in there. Oh, look at it. Okay, we're working. Okay, so this is it. This is my lava lamp. I wanted it to play in the background so you guys could kind of see, but the rendering and like, it just doesn't look that great. But anyway, I made this. It's just something that popped in my head. Like I'll be laying around. Yeah, so an M ball. I mean, I have not used an M ball. I think it's called a meta ball. Remind me if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I know you guys will. But I literally hand animated it. I hand animated those balls. It's insane because this is like my third project ever in Blender. And I feel like as I've gone on my Blender journey, like I've kind of gotten more and more intimidated by things. Whereas like my first few projects, I was like, it could be whatever. Like I'll animate, I'll rig, I'll sculpt, I'll build a character from scratch. Like I was just down for anything. And that's what's really exciting about Blender is like you can do literally anything. If you could think it, you could do it. So these are my lava lamps. I also can put any of these onto my Gumroad. If you haven't checked out my Gumroad, the last 3 projects that I worked on, my art cart, my cupcakes, as well as my colored pencils that I'm working on for an isometric render that I'm working a room, an artist room. I had to create some models for it. So those models that I made, I put them on my Gumroad for free download. Tips are of course welcome. Thank you for anybody who does tip or anything, but they are free to download. You just put $0 in the amount and it's good to go. It's yours. It's a .fbx file and then you can just import it into your scene if you need it. So maybe I'll throw these up there because I think they're really beautiful. I don't know how it would work with the animation, but I remember literally, look, you can kind of tell that I hand animated it because you can see this ball is not quite in there. You see that? Isn't that interesting? Because I'm certain that there's a way that like you can just build like a collision, I guess. Like maybe I could make this a collision object. That way the balls won't come out. But I didn't know that when I first started. So I was squeezing them and like animating it and then squeezing it and then animating and squeezing. But it ended up coming out really cute. I think it came out great for like a third project. I think it is absolutely adorable. So that's like project number 3. I know those 3 for a fact were some of my very first projects. Those are really ballsy like projects to take on in the very, very beginning. This is when I discovered Ducky 3D and I started doing all of his tutorials. I mean, I'm obsessed with him. I'm actually subscribed to his Patreon. I think he is a phenomenal artist and I just love everything that he does. So I did do a few Ducky 3D, so we'll jump into some of those. So we have this Ducky 3D render, which this one is like one of my absolute favorites. It is just so pretty. It's like to die for. Look at this. Look at this. Isn't this good? The colors, the lighting, the color that's like bouncing off. You see, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to play it in this view. Look at that. I mean, I was so proud. I was sending this to my dad. I was like, Dad, look what I did. Like, Ducky 3D, I highly, highly, highly recommend him if you are looking to get familiar with geometry nodes, if you need, as an artist, that satisfaction of start to finish. A lot of the projects that I've been working on lately in Blender and that I have kind of in the queue right now, they take a while, you know, like it takes a while to complete the project. So the great thing about Ducky 3D and the thing that I love about him is that you start and you finish. And I mean, his tutorials are not lengthy, they're not too long, they're very like digestible. easy to follow. He's just really, really good at what he does and definitely an inspiration for me when it comes to tutorials and things like that. So I'm always checking for him. So Ducky 3D, check him out. He's so good. He's so good, and he's been such a huge inspiration into my journey. And when I start diving back into geometry nodes, you better believe I'm absolutely going to utilize all those tutorials that he offers. And also, a really fun tidbit about Ducky 3D is that if you are subscribed to his Patreon, you do get monthly textures. A lot of the textures that I use are Ducky 3D textures. So he's just so awesome. Like, he just offers the community so many awesome things, and I'm really grateful for him. This one's definitely one of my absolute favorites. Lucky one, I won't show. I've done about 4 or 5 of them, like a good amount of them. So I'm not going to pull up all of them because you can absolutely just kind of go to his page and see just see these exact same things. You know, I just followed the tutorial and they came out amazing. But it's also a great way to like boost your confidence. I don't know if this is also a tutorial or if I just wanted to use the particle system. I can't really remember. This could be a Ducky tutorial. I don't know for sure. But this was one of my first projects, and I love this project. I think this one is just so pretty. It's so simple, and it just has like your particle system, turbulence, and a vortex, and it kind of just like takes control of the particles, and it just creates this really beautiful design. And I love this one. I remember posting this and just being like so proud of myself. I'm like, I'm in 3D space, like look at me. This one's really cool looking. Now that like we're back here, like this is awesome, this part up here. So I can't remember if this is a tutorial, but if it were, it's for sure Ducky 3D because that's where I live. I live in Ducky's Patreon. It is like gold. It's like gold. So I think after that, after I was kind of like out of my Ducky phase, I started, we're going to do this one. I don't know when this was, but this was fairly early on in my career. Okay, don't laugh because I know you guys are laughing. Don't laugh because I tried. You know what I mean? You know who this is? You guys know if you know who it is, put it in the comments. Do you know who this is? This is Gumby. Did anybody watch Gumby? I mean, I know I'm like old. I'm an old millennial, but this is Gumby, and I loved Gumby growing up. Gumby and Pokey, and me and my brothers, we had all of the little like Gumby action figures, and they were moldable. And I mean, look at the feet. Like, look at the feet. Are we serious right now? Can I get out of the camera? Look at the feet. Actually, and look. There's more. Look. Come on. Animation. Listen. You gotta start somewhere, right? Not bad. Not terrible. We could work on some things, right? But all in all, I got the legs moving, I got the arms moving, and the bodies that you get it. You get it. But I think this is like one of my first animations. But I think that's the beautiful thing about just like being a newbie in any kind of workspace. It's like when it's fresh and fun, you're just down for whatever. You're down to try whatever, and you don't have like those inhibitions. Like you're not nervous about what it's going to turn out to be or what it's going to look like or anything like that. So, I mean, I like this because there's just such a genuine innocence about it. There's just such a genuine want to animate this character. So I think I'll come back and visit Gumby and just kind of help him out a little bit. But he looks, considerably good. Considerably good. The head's a little large, but I think it's great. But this was a combination of tutorials because I was in a space of being completely obsessed with jellyfish. So I followed a couple tutorials, and I mean, these tutorials were hours and hours and hours long because at this point we are working with creating like the water scene. So you're creating kind of like this domain box where we're playing around with lighting and color, and we have a spotlight in there, and we animated the jellyfish so that it looks like it's kind of moving throughout the water. So this one I was so proud of, but it took me an extremely long time to do this. and these little tentacles here are animated in geometry nodes, I believe. So this was a pretty extensive, like long process to get this jellyfish to kind of look this. And there's still some things that are just like, I mean, the floating of it is a little bit not as natural as I would like it, but I think for a beginner, I think it's not terrible, right? Like, I think it looks pretty okay. But I was really proud of this one. This one is quite challenging, but the final render I thought was gorgeous. I thought it was really good. And if you're interested in like the final render, I can definitely post those pictures and like post links to my socials that do have some of these. I don't post all of my projects, especially if they're not completed. But this one I was extremely proud of because it took a while. It was it was hard. It was really hard to kind of to get that one done. Oh, this was a Ducky 3D tutorial also that I really liked. This one is super satisfying. So Ducky does a lot of loop animations. So let me put it in let's put it in this mode so you can kind of get an idea of what's happening, but you can see that it's just like this satisfying like wave. And this one I really enjoyed doing because again, start to finish, you get an entire animation and you just feel like an accomplished artist, like you're doing something, like a real 3D artist. So this was a Ducky 3D project as well. Let me see if I can show you the true colors. I'm kind of letting it render out so that maybe it'll move faster. So let me let it do that and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. So it's moving a little bit faster, but you can kind of just see it's just like this really satisfying. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's really just like this really satisfying. Let me pause it. There's a very like blurry, and I've been trying to do my best to kind of like maximize my settings so that you can kind of see it a lot clearer in cycles, but it's not the greatest while playing the animation. But this is beautiful. I think this is stunning. It's just a really fun animation and something to post, you know what I mean? It's purple like this because the HDRI is not being found, but it's okay. We're not going to be here for very long. Oh, we have this one. Okay, this one never made it anywhere, and you'll see why. But also you have to have some failures in here. So let's go into the failures. I'm going to jump into those. So this one I was wanting to do like create like an invisible box, and I wanted balls in the center and like inflate the ball so that it squishes against the invisible box and create this really cool animation, right? So this was a geometry node project. So chances are this was a Ducky 3D project. I'm assuming, but I don't know. I can't really recall what I used to get this project going or what information I was grabbing, but I would, if it is geometry nodes, chances are it's Ducky 3D. That's where I kind of get all my GeoNode information from, but I could be wrong. If you do see something similar like this on Ducky's page, that's probably where this is from. But what was happening with this one, and the reason why it never made the cut, is because once all the balls kind of expand out, there's a lot of overlap, which creates like a black, just a straight up like black circle on the box, the clear cube that I have these circles in, and that just really sucks because it looked so cool, but there are some portions of it where the mesh is kind of just like it overlaps and it just creates like this really weird shadow. I don't want it, it's taking really long to render, so I'm gonna see if I can pause it, and you might be able to see it here. Let me go into camera. I'm gonna let it play, and let me pause it where I see there's an issue. Okay, I'm back. So it was taking so long to render. I was like, I don't have time to wait for 200 frames to render. But when I went straight to frame 199, we're not quite having that issue. But I think because I didn't allow it to render out, the balls aren't expanded as much as they would have expanded. So we're not running into that issue. So I mean, the idea of this project was to have these balls. Oh my gosh. So scary. Sorry. Somebody's like doing fireworks, and my dog doesn't like that. I feel so bad for dogs on 4th of July because it is so scary for them. She hates the fireworks. I'm sorry, baby. Okay. But anyway, you kind of get the idea. I want to get out of here from this one. It didn't work, all right? It didn't make it. It didn't make it. Okay, so I'm going to, let me see. I'm going to insert. All right, so the file that I'm wanting to show you all, okay, so it's this. This is the first time that I ever was introduced to like a liquid simulation. This is the first liquid simulation that I ever did. Let me bake it all. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bake this really quickly. Okay, so I'm baking this one really quick and then I'll be right back. This is not going as smoothly as I thought. Okay, we're back. Something to know if you're new to Blender and when you're working in fluid simulations, if you find that like that your domain box is still showing up in the render, you just want to bake it. You want to bake the whole thing so that all of the everything that you've done is kind of just like set into the scene so that you get this end result. I had to show you this one because this was my first fluid simulation. This is when I fell in love with fluid simulations. Like when I realized that you could make water in Blender, I mean, there was nothing more exciting to me than being able to make water in Blender. So I made this glass of water and I remember posting this and I felt so cool. I was like, look at me. Look, you can still kind of see the the flow object, but I don't know. I was just so proud of this one because it's just like, I mean, I know you can't see it super well in cycles, so let's kind of go to, let's see, we'll do wireframe mode, but look how cool that looks. It's just like so satisfying. So that's when I knew, like, I just wanted to put water in every scene that I make moving forward. That's why you'll notice with a lot of my perfume renders and things that I do, I'm like, how can I add water? How can I add liquid? How can I, because I just like it. I just think it's so fun. Now it does do a load on your computer, so you definitely want to make sure the computer's strong enough to kind of handle it. But once you get the settings right, it just looks so cool. So this is one of my favorite renders that I've ever done. So this was my glass of water. This is one of my first renders too. I want to say this was like my fourth or fifth. I hadn't been using Blender very long when I did this one. So that one kind of means a lot to me. This was another one of Ducky 3D's tutorials. This was really cool because we use the rigid body modifier here, and that was really cool. It just creates this really fun like looping animation here. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if I ever posted this, if I'm being honest. I think when it rendered out really, really weird and strange, so I never got to post it, but it's a really, really pretty, it's very pretty, the animation and just the look of all of the geometry, but it's basically just creating like a magnet, and then everything kind of just like locks in with itself, and it just creates this just like really satisfying loop. So maybe I'll try to render it out again, but I think this render took days and days, and I tried to render it out 2 times, and it kind of kept coming up with the same issue where either it was skipping frames or it wasn't rendering out certain frames, and I never really got to the bottom of it. So that one kind of just stays in the archives. I never really did anything with that one. Let's jump into some characters maybe that I've created along the way. So we did the Furby, this one. Oh, you got, look at this. Okay, so this is my you don't laugh. Don't laugh because you have to have some of these. You got to have this in your scene. Do you see this? I'm pretty sure you can kind of tell what I was looking to create, but I was looking to make my logo a character. Oh. Let's see. Let's go into did I Boolean this? Let's grab it. No, I didn't. Okay. This is nothing to show. This is to show that practice really makes this was deep into my Blender career, all right? I don't know what was happening here. What is this? This is supposed to be the ponytail. Let's get out of here. This is not the one. So, okay, so that's version number 1, but let me show you what it evolved into, okay? This is kind of the idea, and I actually do want to get back into, this one. Before I show you this one, I want to show you the character that I created. So let's, is this her? Yeah, I think this one's it. Oof, that one is, ooh, this one's much better. And I mean, even still, this one's not the greatest, but this is a little bit better. I think, we're doing much better here. But this is my Bobby Zen character that I started working on. This actually might be an older character because I did, let's see how the rendered version looks. Ugh. One thing about it, the HDRI just goes away. It just disappears. I don't know why. Okay, so this isn't the one I'm looking for. So let's find the other. So that's one of, but this one, let's see what this one is. That's one of the models for my character. Okay, this is the one. This is the one we want. This one I am so proud of because, I mean, I worked on this for so long, you guys. This is just the head. Oh, look at her. She's so cute. Can you see how far I came though? Seriously, can you kind of tell like how far I came from the first thing that you just saw with like those shapes to this? I think this is, I mean, the sculpting could be a little bit better. The lips could be a little better, but I think I love this. I love this character. I do need to dive back in. I went from doing her hair as a particle system to then just doing her hair as these curves here. I think they're Bezier curves, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really remember. But when I tell you I hand twisted each and every one of these, I hand placed each and every one of these, I sculpted the top part of her like pigtails so that they would kind of lay a little bit flatter. These eyes are actually tiny eyes. It is a you can download it. It's called Tiny Eyes. If you Google it, you can actually download these eyes. They're already made for Blender, and you can go in and tweak them. So see, it's Tiny Eye, and you can adjust the eye color and all of that, like the size, the shape, what they look like, if there's more of a design. There's just a lot of settings that they already have, like a Pixar-esque eyeball. So I was like, okay, this is great. So I imported those. I mean, this character sculpt is awesome. For my skill level, I'm obsessed. I do think I also had her as a redhead, so I'm not really sure like what's happening here, but I love her. I think she is so cute. I definitely need to revisit her and get working on that body. But sculpting for me is so intimidating. It's so overwhelming, and I mean this work alone took me quite this work alone took me quite a while to I'm gonna go and get my HDRI again. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so here we go. This is my little Bobby Zen. So a dream of mine has always been to create an animated film of my own. So I was hoping for her to be the star of this movie that I create. So I'm gonna slowly keep chipping away and working at her. So you have not seen the last of this character, but I'm so proud of her, and I think she's so cute, and her little button nose and her little dimples, and I don't know, I love her, and I'm very proud of myself for sculpting her. So are we in Eevee? Is that why it kind of looks like that? No, we're in cycles. Let me see if I just want to get like a clearer image of her. Let's see if we can. And like her skin tone, that took me a really long time to get to. I did use geometry nodes for her skin tone, and I had to play around a whole lot to get it like that nice brown that I was looking for. So I don't know, I'm really proud of her. I definitely would tweak a lot about the hair at the moment, but for the most part, I think this looks really, really good. And now that I learned a lot of things in sculpting that I can use to adjust this, maybe tighten up those ponytails a little bit, loosen the ponytails just a little bit, make them a little less, like they look a little hard right now. So, and they're a little shiny maybe. I don't know. There's a lot that I would shift and adjust, but all in all, to go from that first one that I just showed you, which was so embarrassing, I can't believe that popped up on the screen, to this one, I'm like, wow, and also considering I don't spend a lot of my time sculpting, so it'd be one thing if I was like constantly sculpting, then maybe I would feel like I should be a little bit further along, but for the most part, I think that looks awesome. I think she looks awesome. Okay, this is another one of my absolute favorite projects that I did, and this one I think I followed a tutorial. Well, I found on YouTube a way to like make particle systems look really cool, so I used that to create an anemone. An anemone. It's an anemone. You remember when he says that in Finding Nemo? It's an anemone. So that's what I did. That's what we made in this tutorial. And he basically just showed you a bunch of different ways to create the particle systems to have them looking a certain type of way. And then I made these rocks and added like different textures, and I pulled some assets from different places on the internet to add them, like this little shell here. It's like a little pearl. Look at the little pearl. What is my, oh, it's just really dark. This is a really dark render, huh? Okay, you can kind of see a little bit better in this viewpoint. Let me see what we are in. We're in cycles. Okay, but yeah, like, let me get out of this and kind of zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. These are assets that I pulled from the internet. They're rigged, but they're not animated, but they came pre-rigged. So I probably should animate those. In the final render, they're not animated. They're not moving at all. But these are moving. So this is like, these are like particle systems. I'll show you the full render so that it looks a little bit better. But these are just like assets that I pulled. These are assets that I pulled from online, and then I just added the anemones. And if I'm saying it wrong, it's a hard word. You know, it's a really hard word to say. So don't judge me. But I made 3. So we have this little guy here. We have this one here on the rock, and then we have also this one on the rock here. And then we just use a displace modifier here to kind of create like that look, which actually I might use this again for another perfume that I'm working on. Stay tuned for that. But I definitely need a sandy ground. So this is great. I'm glad that we're revisiting this. But let me show you in the rendered view so you can kind of get an idea of like what it looks like. I hope it kind of looks somewhat decent, but you can see, right? Like it's really thick and like it's really fun. Let me see if I can like show you. Like you can kind of see the movement. It's really blurry and it looks crazy, but you can kind of see there's like some movement happening here. So let me pause. What if we do here? Let's see if we do it like this. Can you kind of see? Yeah, you can kind of see that there is movement. There's like a gentle movement. And so we have like, I don't know if it's like wind. Oh my goodness, these fireworks are insane. It's the turbulence. So we do have turbulence with each of these anemones. And it creates just like this really gentle kind of movement. Then we have this gentle movement, and then we kind of have these kind of spilling over here. So it's like 3 different ways. And again, it was just a way for me to play with the hair particle system and see what else we can build with the system. So I really like this render. This is a really cool one for me. I enjoyed doing that one. You guys are gonna love this one. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite video games growing up. So naturally, I wanted to model this character. So I modeled the character and then I threw it in Mixamo, and I just added a animation for it. And we have my little Bomberman. You guys like Bomberman? I used to love this game growing up. So we got my little Bomberman doing his little thing, doing his little dance. One thing I noticed when it was like all said and done is his feet are like pointed out this way, and I was like, oh god. But it was too late. I had already like done so much work. But this is a model that I felt really good about because it was like, he's such a basic character. Like the geometry on this character is like super basic, but I felt confident that I could create it and I could make it something. So to create a character and it come to life and he's doing like a fun little dance move, that felt really good and like satisfying. So I love my little Bomberman. He's so cute. Look at him. Did you guys play that game growing up? Because I did. I loved Bomberman. Me and my brothers, we would always play it. Oh, this one. If you are new to my channel, you probably don't know this, but I also play The Sims, and I haven't done a Sims video in quite some time, but The Sims has always been and will always be my absolute favorite game of all time. I love zenning out with The Sims also because it just brings me such calm. It brings me to a place in my life where everything's okay. Like when I'm playing The Sims, I just feel like everything's cool. It's nothing to worry about. Just like chill out and just like ruin these Sims lives or make it better. I genuinely care about my Sims. Like I tend to like play pretty vanilla, but if you haven't seen, I do have playlists of me playing The Sims and all of that. You can check that out on my other playlist, Zen Out with The Sims. But I wanted to make a plumb bob, and I thought this would be a really fun project because it would be challenging enough because it was a diamond and it was a very like interesting shape, but there's also a lot of like ridges, enough dimension in this to be challenging to be a challenging project. So I was like, okay, let me make a plumb bob and like see see what that looks like. So this is my little plum bob. I think it's really cool. I just did a quick animation of, the camera kind of just like circling my little plum bob. This is such a cute little character. Okay. It's such a cute character, and I followed a Southern Shade tutorial to create this. So this was like a do a rig, from start to finish. He does give you the file, so this could be the project file that he actually gives. So this is his project file. So mine looks pretty identical. It just has we do some texture painting. So I do kind of write my logo on the box a little bit, but for the most part, it's just like this. So it's just like a little box, and it's animated. Box boo, cardboard box boo. So that was a really fun project too, to just like practice rigging and things like that. Rigging is probably my weakest point now, but I think rigging is kind of challenging for anybody. This one was a really fun one because I ended up wait a minute, this is I think this is the copy of it, but this is essentially what I did. I did post this one on my socials. You might have seen it already, but this is my ghost that I created. And I just wanted to do a cloth simulation. I just wanted to drop a pretty cloth on something spinning and make the cloth spin and make it pretty. And I was like, if I were a ghost, this is exactly what I would look like. And that was the whole concept of this project. If you were a ghost, what would you look like? I'm just like an egg-shaped thing with like little arms. So that's me. So that was a fun project too. I did post that one up on my social, so that one's pretty cool. Oh, this one was pretty fun. So I saw a video on TikTok, a 3D video on TikTok, and I was like, I can do that. This one took me a minute. Let's go ahead and is our HDRI in here or not? Look at this. I use the Peppermint Power Plant HDRI a lot because I like that one. I think I like how that one looks. So let's do Peppermint Power Plant. Okay, we're gonna get our lighting back. Okay, so I wanted to make an animation of a ball, and that's all. This one's pretty good, but this one took me quite a while because it was my first time using a Bezier curve and then having a ball follow along. So I spent a lot of time manipulating and making sure the ball just went over and just went over. I don't know if I've ever posted this one because the flow and the smoothness of it never got to where I really, really wanted it to go, but I spent a lot of days on this particular render. But I think the colors are really pretty. I might have gotten all of these textures from Ducky 3D also, like the gold. I don't love the topology of this maze part here, of these slides, I guess. So a lot of things I would shift with this, but I think for the most part I learned a lot about Bezier curves and how I would have done this in the future. I did a lot of like adjusting the curve in this view, and I would have just done like, give me right. Okay, so maybe we'll say right with the way that this is, but I would have absolutely, you can kind of see how each of these is like very, very different. And because it shouldn't be, I would handle this completely differently the way that I did. But again, it was just a learning curve. I learned a lot from that. I'll show you 3 more because there's 3, and we'll go quick. We won't like make this one too long, but this one took me so long. You guys let me know if you can see what it is. Okay, ready? If it even plays, because it might not even. Ooh, look at it. Ooh. So this one is really hard to kind of see what's happening underneath, but this is a cloth simulation that I wanted to do, and you can kind of see the character underneath doing its thing, but I wanted to have a character underneath the blankets and kind of turning over, and I wanted the cloth to kind of like suck onto the character. So this one took a really long time because I was doing the cloth simulation, so every single time that I adjusted settings for the cloth sim, it took forever to render. I mean, oh my goodness. And then I had to make a vertex group so that the cloth wouldn't slide off of the plane. So I had to make a vertex group here and then like paste it down and like hold it. Left side, I had to get a model from, again, Mixamo to add into my simulation. So this one was just like a really, really challenging one. This one was really hard, but I do think that like it looks really good. It looks almost perfect, but not good enough. Not quite good enough. But you can, I'm gonna go all the way down to the last frame. Like here, you can kind of see, and I wanna, maybe I'll show you it. Let's see, let's go to top view, and I wanna show you it in wireframe mode. All right, so let's kind of back up a little bit. And if you can kind of see, what are we in right now? Top. All right, we'll stay, oh. All right, we're going to top view. Let me play it for you now. Can you see it? Can you see the character kind of like turning around now? Adjusting a little bit, but you can see the little stick figure there. And then he's like wiggling, wiggling. And then he turns over. So I thought this was really cool. I thought it had a lot of potential to be something cool. Again, like I like any kind of simulation. I like any kind of like fluid simulation, cloth simulation, anything like that. There's a lot of things that I would tweak, and then just like waiting for it to render out each and every time to like bake out. It was just exhausting. And I think I'd worked on this for about 2 days, and I was still finding moments where like the elbow would stick out. It would kind of clip through the cloth. It was just a lot. So I kind of was like, I need to take a break from this project. So this one I kind of ended. I kind of stopped working on it, but I am very proud of this one. I do like this one. And yeah, that one is, I hold that one dear to my heart. I hold that one dear. So I'm going to show you 2 more. So I'm going to show you this one that I recently did, which I really like. I don't know what I really want from it or what I'm looking to do with this particular project, but I wanted to do a smoke simulation. Again, I love simulations, so I just wanted to try something and just see how smoke simulations work. So I kind of modeled an incense and an incense holder, and I just wanted to like, I wanted to kind of create smoke and then have the smoke be like, maybe have the smoke dance or something. So you'll see there's just a lot of smoke going on. I don't know what's going on here since I last did it. I have 2. Oh, okay. So this is actually a character dancing. That's what's happening here. So this one has a character dancing. So that is, you can't really tell, but this is when I started playing with smoke simulations, but I want to show you the original one that I did. So we have this one, and I think, oh, okay, this is the character. So this is the character, and this is what the smoke is actually doing. I know it doesn't quite look like that, but we do have a character getting down, twerking a little bit, okay? So the objective of this, I think, was I wanted the character to kind of come out of the incense and become this, but I never quite got to the full end of that one because, I mean, again, simulations do really take a lot out of you. If you go into my page, I do have a short of like a smoke samba. So it's like a character smoking, a samba character, a character dancing samba, but it's all smoke. So that is on my shorts if you want to check that out. I don't know why this isn't popping up. But the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we're going to get out of here because I feel like we've been here for quite a while. I'm going to show you my very last one, my biggest project that I ever worked on. And it was actually a paid project for a friend of mine who was actually submitting a movie for the film festival. So he was looking for someone to do an intro for him, his movie. So he contacted me and gave me all the parameters of his intro to his film. And I created a scene for him, and he used it in the intro to his movie. So I essentially created this scene from scratch. I built it from scratch. A lot of these things in the scene are assets. A lot of them I built by hand. I worked on this over a series of many months. There were a lot of tweaks, a lot of like, can you adjust this? Can you fix this? Rendered it out, sent it back. He was like, great, everything's great, but this one thing, can you adjust this? Can you adjust that? So there was a lot of it. This one was probably the most challenging scene of my entire career as a 3D artist. It pushed me in ways that I didn't know I could be pushed. I remember waking up when I only had 2 days left of this project, and I was like, I'm not gonna finish. I'm not gonna finish. And he's already paid me. And my brain was like, girl, you better finish. you don't have an option right now. So that's when I realized, as a 3D artist, what I was feeling for a long time up until this project was that I was less of an artist, feeling like I was less of an artist if I didn't build everything from scratch. If I didn't build everything with my own hands from the ground up with my own brain to build the scene like it wasn't my scene, or I wasn't doing a good job, or I was kind of cheating or something like that. And my father works in this space as well, and he always tells me, like, you just need to get the job done. Nobody cares whether you built it from the ground up or not. It's also, of course, it's important to know how to, or what the process would be, but if you have a client looking for an end result, the objective is to get them that end result by all means necessary. So I had been building everything from scratch up until the time where I only had 2 days. And mind you, I had to render still. And this render was taking multiple days on my computer. So I had to get out of that and take that out of my mindset and be like, okay, I need to utilize all of the things in 3D space to support myself in this project and to make this thing come to life and to make this thing happen. So I built this scene, built the building, and I want to kind of play it for you. I want you to kind of get an idea of like what it is, but the sky up above, I built that from scratch. I actually drew in the lightning that comes into this scene in grease pencil. So my first time using grease pencil, I drew lightning, I animated the lightning, I animated the flash, and it's so insane because the render farm, I had to use a render farm to render it out because I needed to render it so many times that my computer just couldn't, and I needed it to be faster. So I actually paid to have this scene rendered so that I could deliver it to the client on time. And the render farm that I used couldn't even render out the grease pencil. Like it wasn't optimized for grease pencil. So the lightning that I took days and days on never made it into the scene. It wasn't necessary. They didn't even need it. But one of the reference items that he gave me was lightning. So I was really bummed about that, but he loved it without it. They loved it without it. A lot of these are assets. I did pull a lot of these from everywhere, like all over the internet. I did build this shed here. The idea of it is like a safe house, and they're running into the safe house to like be safe from whatever's going on. So this was kind of the idea behind the whole thing, but I want to play it for you, this view, so you can kind of get a better understanding. This here is actually the fog, so I did add some fog to the scene, but I'm going to get rid of that for a second just so you can kind of see what's going on. So I animated the camera, you're kind of looking around, it's raining, and you kind of are running into the safe house. The door is about to close, you get in there, you whip around. This actually says safe house on it, whips around, and then the door closes and the logo reveals. So that was kind of what they were going for, that you're like safe in the safe house after you get in there. So I want to kind of pause it, let me get in there, pause it here. And this was a huge part of the project for me because he did want a banner that stated, so I created a banner for him and I put on the banner safe house or something. And once I had rendered out the scene, I sent it back to them and I was like, hey, like, what do you guys think about this? And they're like, we love everything, but we just want the banner to say breaking everything, because I think that's like their logo. So because this asset back here, the wall here, so what happens is there was a banner already with this asset here. I thought that this fit the scene perfectly, so I added this wall to my scene to give it a little bit of a grunge, wore down look. But once I rendered it out and sent it to the client, he let me know, like, I love the banner, I just needed to say something different. Now, again, we're running down to the wire. I am running out of time, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm never gonna make it in time. But my brain just like kicked into gear, and I was like, oh my God, Photoshop. So what I did was I literally took a picture of the banner, brought it into Photoshop, tweaked it so that I just got rid of where it said safe house, and I replaced it with breaking everything with a font that was very similar, a font that worked, and I just pasted it on top of the banner that was already there. You can't really tell because it's flat, we're not moving, we're not really doing anything, so you can't tell that there's another banner behind it. So I felt really proud of myself for kind of getting there and figuring that out. And then the logo, I just animated the logo. I wanted it to kind of break apart and then kind of come back together. I did include like sound effects and things like that. So this is the project that kind of pushed me to my absolute limit. This was my very first like paid animation project, and this is the one that I'm the most proud of because this is what made me an official like 3D artist, I think. And I mean, maybe not, you know, like once you start working in it, you are an artist, right? So, but I feel like it made me like a paid 3D artist, which made me feel like I was good enough and I was capable and I was able and I could get it done. Like if the pressure's on, the heat is on, I could get it done. So I really enjoyed this project, and this one really, really meant a lot to me. It just meant a lot to me to be able to deliver this and to get great feedback, and they were happy and they got everything they wanted, and everything turned out really, really cool. So I'm really proud of this. But now that I know and I'm in a space where I can appreciate that you can utilize what the internet has for you. You know, I think it's kind of that thing where people are like resistant to like AI and things like that. And for me, if these are tools to support you in a faster workflow, getting the job done faster, still delivering a solid project, I think it can all be good. It can all be good. So I think I'm done rambling, you guys, and thank you for hanging with me and going through my work. And if there's anything that you saw that you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that about, just drop it in the comments. Again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I'm so honored. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy to be here and to be doing this journey, and I hope to bring you more quality content. I'm just trying to get better. I'm just working on just making fun, entertaining videos for you all. So I have a few projects in the works. I'm working on a perfume right now. I'm still working on that isometric artist room. I have a couple characters I'm still working on. I do need to rig a bunch of characters. I have my Bumble Baby that I did post. If you haven't seen that, that is on my Blender playlist. But I have my Bumble Baby that I need to rig up. And yeah, we have a lot of fun things happening. And also, I mean, really fun news, and then I'm out of here, but I actually just enrolled in Noman's VFX courses. I'm going to be working in Unreal Engine as well as 3D drawing. So I'm really excited to be taking courses there and just elevating my skills a whole lot. So be looking forward to a lot of like content from there and just my journey to become a real, like, I don't know, certified VFX artist in the industry. So thank you guys again so much for watching. My name is Bobby Zen, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. A safe 4th of July if I don't see you before that. And yeah, if you find something that zens you out, don't forget to do it. Bye everybody. Thank you.